Aliens! They are pushing that hard these days. I guess you guys are going to need some savings throws against that nonsense. No, Nolan, I still haven't uploaded your song. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, Teo, and everybody who I already highlighted in the chat live stream. I'm very, very tempted to like Twitter DM this StreamYard link to Matthew, but I'm not ready for that yet. Here's some more branding. Good day, Lenny. Good day, Lenny and Tayo. Oh, well, I don't know. He's already devalued his endorsement, PVK. So, uh, then what? Then what? Welcome to the Then What stream. You know what? I haven't uploaded the thumbnail yet, but let's get those savings throws out of the way against the mind control because it's probably going to get pretty thick in here today. You get to pick between survival, social, wisdom, or heart. And then I roll the dice, and if it's over 10, you get half damage from the mind control for the rest of the day. In the show, and if it's under 10, you take full damage. But this one, remember, Embody.
There is no agency. We want
what's best. Yeah. So, one more time, that's survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose! Whoa, survivalists. That's a solid 11 today. The number of transformation, I've been told. Socialist, rocking it in hard with a nat 20. Lovers of wisdom, solid 6 for you. Hard folks, you're going to need your bonuses. That's a 2. And Indigo Kids, prime 19, but not enough to get your dice shown on the screen. Wow, I'm rhyming a lot today.
God loves me because he sent me Grim Grizz. I know he loves me.
And I'm going to open soon with a brief little testimony on the mysterious ways on which he accomplishes his will. But since Red Pill got the nat 20, I thought I'd show that up there. Now, what happened was, I got a new neighbor. He's an old guy, and he basically just does stuff for people with his free time. And I go outside yesterday morning, or 2 days ago, and he tells me, he says, Grim. Well, no, he doesn't call me that, but he says, hey, what? And I say, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to go install this water heater in a lady's house who hasn't had, and she's 87 and hasn't had hot water for 2.5 years. I was going to have this guy help, but he got some carpal tunnel crying. So I was like, I'll go. And so I go to help him with this thing. And he needs to put some plywood on the bottom because, the water rot and whatnot. And so he goes to get the plywood. And in the plywood place, in the place where he's getting it from his aunt, I think. And she's got some carpet that she replaced that's laying in her garage that she doesn't want anymore. And so you want it? Yeah. So now I've installed carpet in the studio, which means I don't smoke in here anymore. So you see, this is just one of the mysterious ways. When hey Trey, what you owe? Yeah, what you owe? So that's just one of the mysterious ways things play out. But as you can see, my location has changed with the carpet installation, and okay, I have some open tabs to go over at times like this, and we'll be getting those with Good Morning, Cassandra. This one here, because over there on that, no, don't full screen before you share it. You son, share it and then full screen it. There you go. Over there on the Grail Country, he has this talk with Ryan, and now I don't recall meeting Ryan at Chino, But my immediate assessment is that guy is the second most fed-looking guy I've seen in the corner. How you doing, Ted? And here's a segment of that talk.
Meaning, whether it's justice or forgiveness or this or revenge, it's like no matter what, there's always going to be a revenge tale. It's always going to be a struggle of a man trying to become a better version of himself. Mm-hmm. And I think it's weird that we don't really have that anymore. We have superheroes, but even the superhero movies they're not really contending with. They're not. Right. There's no there's no Rocky type of thing where a person's fragmented and then they're coming back together and then leading a new life. And in a weird way, it's actually, I mean, Jonathan's right. He says the old story is going to come back whether you like it or not. They're just
whether you like it or not. And one of the more important things going on over at Grail Country you should know about is tomorrow, Saturday? I don't know. What's tomorrow? 2 days, I don't know, Saturday maybe. He's having special guest Grimgriz on for this fancy talk about the Fool. And he's making me read some 66-page thing before I can do it. So that's very exciting. And that's going on over at the Grail Country. And now for a great question from Dolly. Now on her channel, which I didn't know existed until recently.
Subscribers and everybody watching right now, your support is crucial to continuing to produce these videos and for supporting the science and the philosophy and the practices.
Can you believe that? She included his commercial on the front. What a sweetie. What a sweetie.
Doing to find solutions to the meaning crisis. Okay, the first question from chat is from Dally Fernal. What is the musicality of being? What is the wave function of the musicality of being? And is the musicality of being connected to the flow state and transjectivity? This is a wonderful question. So the musicality of being comes from the term and the idea come from John Russin's amazing book, Bearing Witness to Epiphany, where he talks about how there's a rhythm to reality. There is a sense in which there's sort of repeating invariant patterns. And then he talks about the melody. There's these individual lines of development. And then he talks about the harmony. There's sort of principles of order and harmony, of composition. And so his point is that when we're making sense of the world, you can see this, right? You can see how there's and when you look at intelligibility unfolding, just how you're making some sense of something. Look, and I'm making sense of this object. There's something that's getting repeated, not necessarily identical, but it's like the rhythm, right? It's the remote, it's the remote, it's the remote. It's that through line. There's something invariant, and then there's a melody of aspects. All these are like different notes as it unfolds in aspects, and also how it unfolds in time, because it will degrade, perhaps get broken. But there's this melody of aspects, diachronically and synchronically.
Do you have any dating advice for young men?
Oh man, I feel so sorry for everybody that's younger than me. Do I have advice? I would say we gotta find a way to contain it because it's so powerful. That's why there's been so much effort in every culture, in every society, to find a way to box that sex thing somehow. We gotta find a way to contain it because it's so powerful. Box that sex thing somehow. Box that so powerful. Box that sex thing somehow. I need to find a wife. I need to find a wife. It's like everything, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to annoy the hell out of you. And is that if you want it too much, you run more of a risk of not getting it. So powerful, and that's a very practical advice because girls don't like desperate guys. Box that sex thing somehow. It's just how it is.
Hey there, I'm Chad the Alcoholic, and the creator of the Friday Morning Nameless channel. I'd like to welcome you to join us for the latest and greatest and most up-to-date information about all the things happening in this corner of the internet. I want to thank you for your time and your attention.
It seems as though poor Trey over there can't place my accent. Well, Trey, boxing gloves are the cue. Are the cue. Since I'm running commercials, it's important to note that everything you see here before you is brought to you by the Shadow Cabal of production executives, which you can join by clicking the links in the description and or at the top of the Hive Mind chat. And I really wish you would, because I got enforcers showing up in my live streams, and it's not good. It's not good. No, we've been seen in the same place and have proven it. Rick, on the other hand, is definitely Chad. And also another plug of the corner. I'm supposed to talk to this guy, but looks like the Andromedist got to him first.
Well, you got the personification of the self, right? That's coming through. It's I, instead of we worship, it's I worship. And then you have the personalization of Christ. It's no longer we pray as a collective. It's I'm praying individually to God. So we have the invention of the modern self and the Carl Truman sort of framework coming through, and as well as you have the individualism of rock music, and that's a bohemian spirit coming through, and then you have some Christians trying to contemporize, trying to get on with the modern times.
We're going to devote our energies to sports and gardening, all the cultural pursuits as far as they're concerned. In fact, we're going to put the Dunes to sleep.
Whoa! Burns certainly has spiced up that intro.
Meanwhile, we dig.
And there is an Andromedist dialogue with me over on the Andromedist channel, which means swimming up water to breathe. Also, we've had a check-in from Sally, who's working on an exciting new project by the looks of it.
Temperance is being tempered, and I illustrated that with a waitress because I think good waitresses are very tempered. And then the Campbell is a symbol of temperance. I can't think of the type of flower right off the top of my head, but those type of flowers are the symbolism for temperance. And then gluttony is the excess for that one. And then this one is prudence. And prudence, I thought, was illustrated good with a teacher. And it's the correct verse, but it's for prudence, not temperance. And then we have the...
Go on over to Sally Jo M. Cooper's channel and check out that new project. Next up on the hit parade, apparently, for you thinky-talky folks, some people think that there's this Vogelland fella's thoughts that should be in this little corner, and here's a guy who talks about them, I guess.
The Greek and Roman world, the modern constitutional world, the world of Marxism, as you mentioned, and not to mention other fascist totalitarian movements. How does he see these relate to one another? First of all, are they in some kind of historical order? Is there a kind of natural development among them? And again, how does he sort out better or worse, or is it all just in the end a matter of experience?
Isn't it all just in the end a matter of recursive experience? Thank you for joining us and being virtually not alone with me here today. And there's a Hive Mind chat. There's probably one on the Twitch too, but you know how that goes. This is the Then What stream with the additional thumbnail I haven't uploaded yet. Thanks again, Shadow Cabal. welcome to the experience, and don't forget to like, share, and do the subscribing. The subscribing is very helpful. Let's see, what else do we have for you today? We're running low. We're running low. I wanted to introduce you to a fellow by the name of Collective Dismal on the YouTube. In case I haven't yet, the videos aren't very video, but and he's very spiteful. Here's a sampling, though.
Probably more.
Oh wait! I listened to him really fast. Sorry, hold on.
Fuck the market asks. They don't care, right? They just print the money, they buy it, and then they chop the house into 10 fucking different units, and they rent that out to your fucking children. And now suddenly, because there's a bigger, badder fucking dog on the block, you want me to get mad and shill for you when you are already a boot on my fucking neck? Just out of spite.
So, a very angry young man, but it's a demographic that exists and is being sold like clearly rage porn for that demographic, right? Is the content here being produced, but the points are not invalid and need to be addressed by the rest of society, lest they continue to fester off in a cancerous cell by themselves. Speaking of which,
now, egregores, tulpas. See, these are independent thought forms that are given life through why you go after them. And if I just described you, that's okay. Now, egregores, tulpas. See, these are independent thought forms that are given life through human action and human imagination. They don't have any power on their own. We give them power and we keep feeding the beast. Also another term for maybe demons. We're all talking about the same thing. And we're all talking about stuff that we have
see, that's the thing, is we have to call them mind viruses, because if we don't, we actually call them the demons that they are, then it'll be really weird that the Christians aren't casting them out. Oh, speaking of the Christians, Pastor Paul's doing a thing over here on this channel. Let's watch a couple of minutes of this, and then I'll weigh in like I was watching the whole time.
And I think that a lot of American Protestants are just sleepwalking in post-60s sexual land and not thinking or noticing about how different their attitudes are on these questions compared to the vast majority of the Christian tradition. And that I think that when we are thinking about what Christianity, what this sort of third millennium Christianity needs to be in terms of its attitudes towards sex, as we're entering perhaps a post-Christian age or a negative world, as Aaron Wren would say. And certainly with all this, the rise of the alphabet attitude towards sex and gender and sexuality, there are some interesting approaches that a fully Christian sex negative attitude would have. Because I think that part of what, say, not picking on the Christian form.
If you have problems with Christians having too much sex, you could play it. No, okay. So the conversation is on how come Christianity is so sex positive now, and it's that winsome nonsense, Pastor Paul. It's that winsome nonsense. That's why. I mean, why I didn't get to the end. Why is Friday going to be spicy? And Trey Braswell says, I get a lot of Willy Wonka vibes from you, Grim, and you can reciprocate the reception of those vibes by clicking the Buy Me a Coffee link above. Now, I have to go back to this lady because, she's talking about Wetico and mind viruses and egregores and all that stuff I love, but here's the part I caught that I wanted to bring to your attention. Maybe, or it could be in 30 seconds.
Come alive on social media, because social media is evil, wants to destroy us. It also wants to help us too. I don't know why I had to write a song about it destroying us when it can also help us. Wait to the end. I will talk about how this can be used for positive, but I'm sticking with my song. Why have we seen it come alive on social media? Think about it. Why have we seen it come alive on social media? Because social media offers us various identities we can be a part of. And so a lot of people who maybe didn't get their identity from their parents, maybe couldn't figure it out on their own. They go on social media and they find an identity. And then they become this thing that may never have existed in the real world to begin with, but they become it, they embody it, and then they give it life. How is this much different than a tulpa or an egregore? Is it? Are we seeing this in our real lives, in our day to day? Isn't that fascinating? Isn't it fascinating? What if you were like, I don't need to be fascinated. Can I just be safe and happy? No, because it's 2023 and we don't get that. You have to approach it.
I know all about cannibalism. I saw it on TV.
See? It's okay. You saw it on the television.
And yes, there is volume with issues with this lady, and I I guess I need additional software if I'm to deal with that properly. Um, now her points are nice, but now I'd like to draw attention to what's taken for granted, or let's just pay attention to this part for a second with me.
Shit in a lighthearted way, because otherwise it'll track you down. Now, a lot of these identities, if you really look at them, a lot of them are neo fill in the blank. Neo fill in the blank. What does that mean? It means that maybe they're going back, these groups or whatever, these fictional identities are going back to a group which never existed in the first place. Nazis. We have neo-Nazis, but the Nazis themselves were neo Aryan perfection. And it's like, that, what are you talking about? You just built this whole identity out of ideas. They were big into the occult. You just built this whole thing, and now you're saying you are that. No, you are neo that. And when you say neo that, you mean not that. It means a new creation. And we see it not just with Nazis. We see it, unfortunately, we see it across the racial groups in the United States, because they were split apart when they came here and now they're reforming. So we have, neo, the Hoteps would be a neo.
All right, dadgummit, I lost the part. All right. And no, Grizz and I aren't the same person. Oh, I don't know. You got pretty big feet. But paternity presses play and box that sets. There you go. So, no, those circles in the eyes prove she's got a ring light like a professional podcaster would. But I think it's part of the, it does add something, right? It does make something weird. Let's see if I can accidentally double click and find the part I was looking for.
Idealized past that may never have existed. Same thing with Marxists, all these other things. Like, we are descended of X, Y, and Z. We are descended of the abolitionists. You're descended of nothing. We're all here, okay? And we're all writing the script again. With each generation, we rewrite the script. But it's like water going down certain paths in the rock, and it just follows the water from before. I feel that we have more free will than water. I feel we have more free will than water.
I think this was the part.
But nevertheless, if we let it slip, If Watiko catches us slipping, then we're nothing but water. We're nothing but parts in its larger plan. Ooh, I suppose that's kind of scary. But think about it like this. How do you combat that? I don't want to fall into this identity.
All right, I can't find it. I can't find it. The important part I wanted to go into is how she takes so much individualization for granted. Because, like, as you know, if you want to recruit for your cult, finding the lonely, individualized ones is the way to go. And we've had Set and his minions work toward doing that to us, to the extent that they've engaged a campaign which they instructed us to stand at least 6 foot apart. The war on drugs was a war on personal freedom, and now there's a war on human contact. And beware of individualization. They're luring you into somewhere. I think I'm gonna have to write that. And anyway, I want this topic Paul has over here. This: why is the church today so sex positive? When the church, well, it's the win something is the answer, Paul. But with regards to Christians, and if you want to stay sex positive and remain Christian and actually serve like their spiritual whatnot, you guys are going to have to take. Okay, listen. You're going to have to take the tantric stuff, the tantric Vedas, figure out what was actually going on in there and Christianize it. That's the only, there's physiological, energetic, and whatnot stuff we have going on that we refuse to look at because that's how we've been programmed. That's the knowledge compartment that we've grown up into. So, does AI have more sentience than water? No, I think we are water, and that's probably where our sentience comes. Because I hang out with Lenny too much, and he's colonized me that way. Here's this.
Fuck what you heard. It's what you hearing. It's what you hearing. Listen, it's what you hearing.
I'm hearing a couple things in that. I'm hearing beauty plays a role.
Of course.
I'm hearing also that whatever the subjective character of the experience that is elicited by the encounter is itself a measure of the value of the encounter, and is itself a measure of whatever the potential value is in continuing the relationship.
Right.
It's what you hearing. Listen. It's what you hearing. Listen.
Welcome to the Manifest We stream, which means I should probably get to the Manifest We part of the stream, in which I can then wrap it up, right? Or whatever. You got to go to branding to turn that off. Okay. So before I continue, I want you to know that this shirt is available for sale at the link below. And I have been tasked by the person handling my merch for me because I'm busy being insane. That it is required of me that I present a manifesto. And so I figured, specifically a Defense Against the Dark Arts manifesto. And so I thought it might be prudent for me to look up that word over on our good friend Miriam and see what I'm supposed to do. Because what? The only one I know of is a guy that sent really inappropriate packages, but, it seems to have played out exactly that way. What's a manifesto, Miriam?
Manifesto.
Yeah. Oh, a written. Why don't you read the definition as a written statement declaring publicly the intentions, motives, or views of its issuer. And so I'm which would you like in the manifesto for Defense Against the Dark Arts, folks? Would you prefer the intentions, the motives, or the views? Or would you like a fancy Trinity version? This one's still quiet. Why did you load all these quiet ones when you want to stop talking for a second?
The list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast magic missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile. Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here. I'm attacking the darkness.
So, there, a Defense Against the Dark Arts manifesto. Man, if I could just ramble on about it a minute, maybe we can just cut and paste the pieces. What are the intents of the Defense Against the Dark Arts? To undo a disadvantage created by our collective inability to resist set is required. People ought to know what's up. I mean, people just. I'm apparently have to think. Okay, that's the intent, right? The intent is to give people a heads up on the world that they find themselves in, because we're born stupid. If we took you and dropped you in the womb of a lady in like a tribe and wherever, you would grow up with just the knowledge compartment of that tribe, and that has worked for managing humanity for quite some time. However, what has happened is, as first the telegram, right? It was the first time information outpaced a person's ability to carry it. And now here we are. What was the telegram, like 150 years ago? And boom, as soon as information was faster than humans, as soon as humans weren't the fastest way for a thought, a mind, a belief, axiomatic structure, a value system, a view of the world, an orientation to transmit from one to another. It's like now I can synapse, right? Like the way a synapse goes from neuron to neuron, I can now do that way over to the other side of the planet on a single, and by these informations, we detect and form our view of the world. And that view of the world, I consider our knowledge compartment. You exist within a knowledge compartment, and with the advent of the internet, right? The problem has become that we don't know what knowledge compartment we're in, because we're getting flooded with knowledge from all of the different knowledge compartments, and this goes somewhere. Who are you? You're a self. Who are we? We are the people of what? What is what binds us? What we are you in? See, because when I say we, and I'm talking about a specific context, you might not be in that we. But since it's a royal we, you don't know if you're in that we or not. And whether or not you're in the we is based on what your actual, like, the we information is for a knowledge compartment, but it might not be the knowledge compartment you operate in. For example, information for the public is for the lowest common denominator human out there, so that they can get by in our society. It's not necessarily the truth, but it's what they need to know to operate within that knowledge compartment. For example, you might think of Building 7 not killing itself a certain thing, but that's you being in a different knowledge compartment. If you're the general public, it's still important for you to know that the lowest common denominator person believes that was what they say it is. And that's the thing, is you have to be able to filter your information flow to the knowledge compartment you actually exist in. You have to be a part of the right we, or you have to know what we are in. You have to understand compartmentalized knowledge and know what compartment you're in and which one you want to go to. That's my class. Well, that's to the extent I have to teach any of this Defense Against the Dark Arts stuff myself. That's the topic, is understanding compartmentalized knowledge. Because if you start trying to understand compartmentalized knowledge, you might get stuck. But when you finally understand compartmentalized knowledge, you'll be a cake. A cake. What? I don't know. Here's some of this.
Question of gay marriage is that for like for 20th century American Christianity, the thing I was taught is that sexuality is basically the rules around sexuality are basically divine commands, and that there are rules that we can interpret and read from scripture that might have some purpose behind them, but the main reason is that we just like follow it because it's the commandment. And
that's very much the posture of the conservatives.
Right. But then, okay, but some of the rules might seem unfair to these people. Why do straight people get to enjoy sex, but gay people don't get to enjoy sex? That seems unfair. Those rules seem biased, and so maybe we need less biased rules.
And we have a
and
whole
one of the
tradition
things
of
I've been
laying them
pointing out.
aside for. Go ahead.
One of the things I've been pointing out is that a possible advantage of the earlier negative view is that actually nobody gets what they want.
Yeah.
So you don't have some people complaining that the other people got what they wanted.
Nobody gets what they want. That's what
It
you say to
actually
the
has
kids
an
when they've been
amazing-
squabbling.
It actually has an amazing way of dealing with the same-sex marriage question. Is that the sex negative view would basically say, why in the world would you want to get same-sex married? That will only draw you further away from God, because sex draws you away from God, and you don't even get to have children. So what in the world would be the point of that? Simple answer to a question. And you think it's unfair that the same sex or that heterosexual people get married and homosexual people don't? Well, they have this difficult burden of raising children, and they have to be drawn away from God at least a handful of times in their life in order to accomplish that. So
And they
what
have
do
to
you
live
mean
in a
it's
house
unfair?
with someone of the opposite sex, but still behave themselves really strictly.
Yes.
Which is quite a
and so-
burden if you're
And
trying to be
because
independent.
gay sex has always been fruitless, so and so then contraception basically makes all sex like gay sex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Catholics say that all the time.
Yeah.
Although
You shall know it by its fruits. What? Right, okay. Oh, so was there anything else? The views. And a manifesto is supposed to have views? Jeez. Remember it.
This agency. We want
Okay, my views are that we're probably an abomination experimented on by people like us, because it's what we're doing. We're shooting human genes into monkey brains to make them smarter. And I don't see how that didn't just happen, 60,000 years ago. And we're like on batch 6 of the humans going into our global reset for batch 7 of the perfect automaton, biological android. But that we've been cursed with the mind of our predator. We were just innocent little monkeys, and they shoved their genes in us. And what happened after that is the invention of this thing called interest, whereas I will loan you money and you will have to pay me for me doing that to you. And that has allowed the creation of a we that will maintain their we-ness by the interest rates they charge other people and not their own. And that we is the type of we that, I don't know, Zion, we can do that too. Like this is why I brought up Collective Dismal and is complaining about BlackRock buying up the houses and chopping them into rental units for the rentoids, is because it's true. And that's the result of the individualization weaponry that's been launched on the Western culture. You have a broken home, and then you normalize broken homes, and then you push individualization. And if you can watch from the first Back to the Future till today, it just plays out that way. I think. Let's see. Some people. What was the question? Why are we along when we go we? Why? What people? What? Why are we along when we go? Alone. Okay. Why are we alone when we go we? Why are we? Why are we alone when we go we? Because we don't discuss sensitivity. It's neurological in the survival evolutionary modifications, right? I don't. You guys have lost me. So, since things have been inverted around here, it's probably time to wrap up this show, or I could open it up to people coming on. What do you think? Anybody want to come on? Any volunteers for me to drop the link? How about that? Meanwhile, you can watch some more of this maze lady.
Fall in by your actual history, who your parents were, who you marry, who your children are, and what you do. Because it's all action. Behaviorism is all action. So there is an authentic self, and that authentic self is what you actually do on the day to day, especially in the United States, where it doesn't really matter so much what our parents did.
There's the part where she's actually saying the part that's been so normalized that she's spreading it as a mind virus in their video about mind viruses. Finally found it.
It's what we do, how we act, how we strategize to come up from wherever we had to come up from, et cetera, et cetera. So I am.
You don't got no family. Your family raises you, and then it's on you to come up. No, see, that's why Game of Thrones was such pornography for me. Like, there were houses, familial houses, competing for each other, and as a bastard, you're like, oh, right. And not only that, they actually showed governance where, like, the rulers had to sit up there and rule and make decisions when people came and complained about their dragons eating people. That's a petition for redress of grievances if I've ever seen one. We respectfully remove ourselves from the. Yes, I had quit. Here. All right, then, buddy. I don't see any demands and/or volunteers, so that'll be the end of the stream. Here's some closing thoughts.
Do you have anything you want to say in conclusion?
Yes, be love. Oh, wait, no, find the others and be love until they kill you for it. I'll get that manifesto out soon.